dozens and dozens of reports built into the system to make sure that we're tracking everything accurately, and I'll go heavily into that for you. Okay, but that is the meat and potatoes of what the system's all about, guys. Some fluff. We do have time tracking capability. So technicians, employees alike can clock in and clock out for a proverbial 8-hour workday. I'm also going to show you how we can track time on job. I can help you guys gather reviews. We have email automation built in. We have service plans. There's a lot of different functionality in the system in that regard. Everything in our system is dated and timestamped. So any buttons pushed by customers, employees, anything done in the office or the field, dated and timestamped, and nothing falls through the cracks. And we can also track your employees via GPS. So if and when you need that, we have it built in. All right.
GPS by device in the vehicle, or GPS on the laptop or the tablet?
Correct, Don. It'd be based off of the tablet, and then we also do have GPS trackers that you can plug into your company fleet if need be. So we have it both ways.
Okay, now the GPS on the tablet, is that something that can be disarmed? Is that something that can be kept a secret? Or is that something that that the technicians are aware of?
I wouldn't say keep it as a secret per se. It's basically just a mobile app that they would need to download, and they have to have the location setting turned on, sir. So call a spade a spade. Let's make sure they're aware of it. I wouldn't really want to, preface it in the regard that you'd be hiding this from your employees while tracking them, if you catch my drift.
Understand.
Okay. Now, that is just through the mobile app. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, because I'm able to pull my phone up here in a moment. You guys see this on the right-hand side of the screen, so we can actually see what the mobile looks like out in the field. But in that regard, Don, we do have a little unit. You can plug it into the OBD2 port of the truck or the van. Then we can track the actual vehicle as well. I'll go into that. Okay. So I just wanted to be sure that we understand kind of the inner functions here. What I'm going to do next, gentlemen, is I'm going to open up our calendar, our scheduling tool, and show you what that looks like. Now, I'd be curious to see how you're currently operating. Don, is it all on pen and paper? Is it on a big whiteboard? How do we do our scheduling now?
Actually, we do our scheduling by taking phone calls personally, writing it down, and then putting it on a phone for record keeping, and then dispatching it through the phone to keep records of it for whom we sent it, dispatched it to.
Okay, so we don't physically use a calendar in any means.
Maybe the calendar in QuickBooks or the calendar in my email for specific items or large jobs, but no, not necessarily.
Okay. I do not want to change the way you work by any means, right? This is strictly a tool for you to use, and what I would consult you to do is start using a calendar, because this is how we're going to track everything. All right. So jokingly, gentlemen, check it out. Over here on the left-hand side, I've got Homer Simpson, Michael Jordan, Taylor Swift. These are my fake technicians, Don. These are my fake employees, if you will. All right. Now, the reason I wanted to point that out is they're color coordinated. So what we're looking at on the calendar, red, yellow, green, blue, are my different employees. This is just a standard Monday through Friday schedule, and I'll be honest with you, I do not see our most successful businesses working out of a Monday through Friday calendar. What I'm going to do is show you another view in a moment, but I want to paint the picture of what we do on the calendar. We track status of employee and status of money or payment right from the calendar. And to paint the picture, I'm going to get rid of all of my employees here except for Homer Simpson. You guys see that? Yeah. So Homer is yellow. So the idea is if I called in today and I get Don on the phone, and Don's scheduled as an estimate or a job right from the calendar, let's say he assigns that job to Homer Simpson, it's just going to show on the calendar as yellow. All right? This job right here, for instance, that's white with a yellow border. I'm going to show you how we get there. It's all through the mobile app, but that would mean that Homer Simpson, your employee, is clocked in. He's active on that job site real time. Okay? A gray job. A gray job on the calendar is the flip side. That means Homer Simpson's clocked out, the job's completed. In this regard, it means that it's paid in full as well. That's status of employee and status of money. And if you guys don't bill right after the job and we're net 30 or something like that, I'm going to show you how this all correlates. Okay? A gray job with the red border, that means the job's completed, but they owe us the balance. There's money due. Now, what I'm trying to show is simplicity. The calendar is stupid simple to use, but it's powerful because I'm tracking different metrics. And if I come back to my dashboard page or my home screen here, do you guys see the tab that says Open Invoices? You guys with me there?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. This will all tie into QuickBooks, but the idea is we don't want you to have to go from one system back to the other. So instead of going into QuickBooks, I can now go into this Open Invoices tab, and this is a ledger of all of my past due bills, for instance. You guys are tracking me. So this is receivables.
I'm following you.
All right. So I wanted to show you there. What I'm going to do next, sir, is I'm going to get out of this Monday through Friday view, and I'm going to go into what we call a dispatch view. I'm going to bring back all of my other employees. Hopefully the hodgepodge of colors kind of makes a little more sense there. And then we're going to flip into this dispatch angle. And notice what it did is associate all of my employees on the left-hand side of the screen. So as I scroll left to right, hour by hour, day by day, I can see all of my jobs, my employees, and their statuses stacked on top of each other. And the reason I'm showing this to you is if we needed to reschedule or reassign a job, for instance, from Michael Jordan to Homer Simpson, I can just simply drag and drop into my other employees' calendar, and Bing, they automatically get a notification that Don scheduled them for a job, and we have the capability to notify the customer automatically with the text message as well. Okay? So, that's what I'm going to do, gentlemen. We're going to go through and we're going to book a call out tomorrow, Wednesday the 27th. All right? I'm going to book it for my main man, Mike, at noon. So I just scroll into the schedule. I can book it as an estimate or a job. Either way, when I come to this next page, the same workflow. 4 to 5 steps that I see a lot of business owners doing scatterbrain. We're going to work left to right. So first and foremost, if I called in today, Mr. Don, and you got me on the phone, and I'm a new customer, for instance, playing devil's advocate, never done business with me a day in your life. You can type in my name, my phone number, my company, my email, check it out. Type in, because we integrate with Google, directions are all built into that location, for instance. Right? We have what's called customer tags, and this is where I'm going to pause for a moment. Do you have different types of services that you provide?
Yes.
Okay. Rattle off a few for me if you don't mind.
Road cleaning, emergency light checkup, monthly inspections, flame retarding, art classes.
See how I'm doing all this? I tag it.
It's so fast I can't see it.
So I'm tagging what these are. So I typed in light checkup. I typed in flame retarding. I typed in fire classes. And what I'm trying to associate this as, and something you should think about, Don, is this a commercial or is this a residential job? Tag it. Right?
Okay.
Is it a light checkup? Is it a, fire retardant? The idea is you want to start tagging these, so now at the end of the day, end of the month, end of the year, I can go back and I can pull these tags. Sir, all they are is just reports. So if you wanted to see how many commercial fire classes you did, you could pull that as a report if you catch my drift.
I do, but I'm not. It's there at the. I just not quite following how to put an index to it.
Index would be as simple as this. I'm going to create a Don and Tony report. See this? I just typed in Don and Tony. All I have to do is hit enter. I just created a report. That's it.
So under the reports menu, you could then say list all Don and Tony reports for a year range or whatever it is, and you get the list of those properties. Real simple.
train you guys on how to use this. Is continued support as well. So it's not sink or swim. If you need help, Don, Tony, anybody in your office, we're going to train you guys on how to use this. All right. So I don't want you to feel like you're drinking through a fire hose here. With that being said, everything that's in QuickBooks right now, all of your past customers, for instance, we can import them into our system. So if I called in today and Don gets me on the phone and I'm a current customer or a past customer, all you need to do is type in my name, my phone number, my email, probably more commonly my address. It'll pull up what that home or business looks like because we integrate with Google there. And then the customer history, sir. Pictures, notes, serial numbers, pricing. As diligent as you are with tracking that in the field, it will show back up in the office 10 days ago, 10 years ago. Doesn't matter. Okay? We're working left to right, guys. Scheduling, we came right from the calendar. We picked a day. We picked a time. We're assigning this to Mike, my technician. If I need to have multiple employees on that, I can. Just add them in there. Okay. Notice, if the customer does not want to receive a text message or an email, we can easily turn it off or turn it on. If I need private notes, so let's say I'm on the phone with Dawn and I say, hey, when you send your guys out, I got a gate code to get in today, and I got dogs on site, and I need you to park in the back, and maybe I'm being a pain in the you-know-what on the phone. All right. These are just private notes, guys. Private means private. Nobody else sees them. With me there?
I understand.
All right. Mr. Don, do you ever have to give a checklist of items to your employee that stipulate they do X, Y, Z while they're on the job?
Yes.
Okay. So we can assign those as well. They're fully customizable to you and Tony. You can build them out on your own. Okay. I'll show you what they look like, sir. Perhaps you need to add a photo, a picture, an attachment, something of that regard before you send it out to your employee. So you can go ahead and take pictures and upload them, because what's going to happen here, Don, in a moment, I'm going to show you that all of this is going to pop up on your employee's cell phone, their tablet. All right? And then, guys, the last step is building out a work order or building out an invoice. And this is where your first look at our price book's coming in. So I work with all industries, all different types of trades, all different types of sizes, but the concept is, how is all of your pricing in here? So notice, if I type in fire here, let's see what I get to pull up. See that?
Right.
So Mr. Don, you can have all of the different types of pricing that you have in here. So for instance, this says replace gas valve. I'm charging flat rate $386.85 for that, and this is just a template, plain devil's advocate. But the idea is if I put that in there, I'm now creating a work order for my employee, and I've already created an invoice to bill the customer in the long run. Is that clicking? That making sense? All right. So guys, we can go all day long. Line items, materials, discounts, taxes. I'm going to show you how we can do deposits. All of this is a one-stop shop for you, and hopefully that's what we're seeing. Tony, I think you're picking this up pretty quick, sir. Do you have any questions on this?
No, this is looking good. Well, so far so good. I mean, I'm very familiar with several software packages, so this is fine.
Go ahead.
Now, I guess the question would be, from here, can you say this occurs once a year, once a month, that kind of thing?
Sir. And that's what we're going to get into right now. I appreciate you asking that. So,
yeah.
John, let's say you're on the call. You're going to hit save. You hang up the call. Just out of a concept, here's what could happen. I'm going to pull my phone up, guys. Let me know if you see this on the right-hand side.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
A text message just came through, and imagine this got sent out to the customer. This is effectively what they would be seeing. So it's automatically going to, associate their day and time, the technicians that you've assigned, and notice it says 12 to 12:15. So we can give arrival windows, anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours, or you can completely change that. This is customized. Okay? But the idea is if I'm your customer and I texted Don back, that is going to go into what we call our inbox up here. You guys see that?
Yep.
So the days of texting back and forth with customers or even your employees is over. You can do all of this right through House Call Pro. It's all dated and timestamped. It's a centralized hub for communication. And what I'm not saying is that you can't text office, but it's a good place to keep everything organized. All right. Gentlemen, do we see these little bubbles up here?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay. This is just a timeline. So literally anything that's done in the field or vice versa from the office out to the field is dated and timestamped. So I'm going to show you what this means on my way. That would mean start and finish job or clock in, clock out of job. Lastly, it's going to be invoicing and pay. Tony, to answer your question, sir, we have reoccurring service plans, which are just maintenance contracts. So what we're going to do is we're going to track buzzword that you said, Mr. Tony, earlier, reoccurring revenue. So monthly here, I can see in September, October, November, so on and so forth, how many jobs we have compiled, what our reoccurring revenue looks like, and furthermore, what House Call Pro is going to do for all of your different types of plans is send out automated reminders that their scheduled appointment's coming up. Or if their contract is coming past due, it will automatically remind them. If they haven't paid for the service in full, we can auto-invoice. We can auto-bill. Tons of functionality from an admin perspective that costs you guys time. We're automating it. I'm going to show you what this looks like again. From the schedule, notice if I click in here and it's highlighted blue for a reason, that means it's scheduled. This is a rendition of how we can create our reoccurring schedules. So I'm going to click into simple enough where it says reoccurrence. Notice right now it says never. John, you said that we've got weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annuals, everything, right?
correct.
Well, we can come in here, so if it's weekly, I can pick every Wednesday, week by week. We can go bi-weekly, 3 times a week. Doesn't matter. I can go monthly. You can have this set after a certain amount of appointments or have it end on a specific day if it's that contract type of thing. So the functionality there, Tony, is completely customizable to you guys.
So the point is you put it on the schedule for today, and then you click on it, say recurring, and then you can modify it. It's multiple events
Correct.
type deal. Got
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay.
I have a problem with security at my office and to people. I deal with subcontractors, so I need to make sure that the information that I give them stays on, which I'm sending this to their phone. And I need to make sure that this information is not sent to other companies that they work for. Is there a way to prevent that?
Yes, sir. So we've run into this quite a bit in the past. So what I'm going to do up here in the left-hand corner, do you guys see this little gear wheel?
Yep.
This is our settings wheel. All right. The reason that I'm pulling this up real quick is we have permission settings done. So these are my fake employees here. Do you notice how I have a couple of them listed as admin, a couple listed as office staff, and then a couple listed as field tech?
Yep.
These are the 3 different perspectives that we have, and they're permission-based. So if I come on in here, what you're going to see is that we can easily toggle individuals through this. And then furthermore, what I can do is I can hide information from them. You see this?
Okay. Actually, we always take pride in giving our technicians the same customers that they serviced last year. But we don't want other technicians to be able to get into my system and to alternate, or it's not their business of what the other guys are doing. And I'm certain that can be hidden.
Yes, sir. And that's what I'm trying to paint the picture of right here. So you can easily just toggle these on or off, and it'll disallow them from accessing your customer database. Plain and simple.
Now, the security would be better if I provided them with a tablet as opposed to sending this to their own personal phone.
In all honesty, Don, not necessarily, because the access is still going to be the same. Right? I have a lot of business owners that ask me if they should run out and buy tablets tomorrow, and the answer is always this: it's up to you, right? Because this is just a mobile app. Download it on a cell phone or a tablet the same exact way.
Okay. So the technician is able to write an invoice there on his phone, type it in, and then send it to the customer's email address?
Yes, sir, and that's what I'm going to show you next, right? So getting back to this screen, this is conceptually everything that happened in an office. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go out in the field and I'm going to physically show you what it would look like for your employee to write an invoice in the field. Okay? So what I've done is I've pulled up my cell phone. This is my everyday cell phone, gentlemen. Just downloaded the mobile app. Doesn't matter if it's Apple or Android. All right? Time tracking. Let's say I need to clock in and clock out at one of Don's employees. Well, I can do that right here from the phone. All right? Mr. Don, all the reports that you want to track are now in the palm of your hand. You don't even have to log into the computer anymore. It's right here in front of you. So you can see any open estimates you have, how business is going, invoices, paid or not, all right there in the palm of your hand. Schedule down here in the bottom, gentlemen. Very similar to what I just showed you on the computer, just now on the phone. And Don, if you only want your employees to see their color or their calendar, you can do that. This is a team view from an owner. Okay? I scheduled that job out for my guy Mike, who is dark green. Notice invoice 4661 has been created. So when I open this job up here, the dark green one, it's going to say job number 4661. You see that?
Right.
So invoice and job are synonymous in the system. Keeps everything tied together. And I'm going to blow this up just a bit because I did want to show you functionality. So, say this is the first time that this employee's ever been out to this home or business. Google integration. We know where we're going now. Directions right here are all built in. I do not need to leave the mobile app for simple directions. I could call. I could text the customer. Don, you can chat with the employee through the mobile app in the field. Before your technician goes out to the job, you've been working with this customer for years. Customer history, like I said, 10 days ago, 10 years ago. Look at this, service plans, your preventative contracts. You can upsell customers now in the field if they're not on a contract with you.
Right.
Okay? Scrolling down here. The line items for the invoice that we've already baked out from the office is all in there, and this pencil is what's going to allow your technicians to edit and update pricing, material costs, whatever they have to do. Notes that you left, the pictures that you left your technician are all baked in there. And then conceptually here, when they're ready to go, they simply hit this on my way button. Don, what on my way does? Sends a text message out. Says, hey, AJ, this is Don, your fire extinguisher specialist. I'm on my way. It has a picture of Don. So I know exactly who's coming to my door, because it's all about security these days. It's also going to track your travel time. So if it takes them 20 minutes, that's going to be its own separate report for travel time, and we're going to see that with the GPS tracking as well. And then the idea is your employee gets on site, they hit start, that'll clock them in. All right, so whether they're there for 30 minutes or 3 hours, do we see this button that says checklist incomplete?
Right.
All right. So Don, you said, yes, I do supply my employees with checklists. Well, look at this. In-house Call Pro, if they do not finish the checklist and they try to finish the job or clock out, it will not allow them to do so. So they need to satisfy the checklist now. My checklist simply says, take a picture. I'm assuming you guys take a handful of pictures out there in the field, right?
Yep.
All right. So with that being said, I'm going to scroll down here now. Attachments. All your employee needs to do, sir, is hit this camera. It'll pull the cell phone up on their camera phone up. I just took a picture of a water cup on my desk. All right, but imagine that's a part number, a serial number, location of the unit. I have no idea. You can take 100 different pictures. Haven't seen anybody break the system. My phone's going to load up here in a moment. Give me a moment. And then the picture that I'm trying to paint is, you said we have a lot of record keeping. I used to do it all on index cards, things like that.
Right.
So what are some things that you need to keep track of? Is there serial numbers?
Correct.
Okay. Down here in the bottom, Don, you see where it says property profile? I just opened it up.
Yep.
All right. Phone's loading back up. There we go. So these would all be property or equipment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one. I'm going to hit this plus button. All right. We'll come in and we'll say, you said fire extinguisher, right?
Correct.
So look at this, sir. I can now take down the make, the model, the serial number, install date, or let's think about it like this, last service date. You can now take notes on that, and then I can associate a picture to it as well.
All right.
So when somebody cooks, please go ahead.
Some places may have just one. Some places may have 20 or 30. So if we don't fill out all those fields, will the job still go through and be completed as far as your program's concerned, or do you mandatory have to make sure that they fill out that information?
It is not mandatory unless you want it to be. This is a customizable program to you.
Okay.
Guys, I'm just playing devil's advocate, sir. I'm trying to show you what we have to offer you. If you want to use this for 1 unit or 100 or never use it, it's up to you.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. The thing that I really want to show is that this is comprehensive. So you do not need to leave this, even for the invoicing, as you mentioned. So check it out. Here's effectively what the invoice could look like. Mr. Don, that would be your company logo. That's our customer. The service that we're paying. The dollar amount due. And what I'm trying to get at here is you can have terms and conditions baked in. So if we need, instead of it being a verbal or a handshake agreement, we can collect signatures out in the field. Okay? Everything's dated and timestamped, gentlemen. So look at this, clear as day on the mobile. Let's say I collect a signature out in the field. Well, I want to make this real world. So, Mr. Don, you're sitting back in your office. Tony's sitting in his office. We have technicians getting signatures, taking pictures, collecting payments, whatever the heck they're doing out there. Well, back in the office, guys, every single step of the way is time tracked, right? So when this loads up here, check it out. I see when they hit on my way. I see when they clocked into the job. I see them in the field, their checklists. Look at this. The picture that I took out in the field and that signature clear as day. All right? It really just comes back down to billing and collecting payments there. How do you guys do that now?
By paper right now, or by QuickBooks.
Okay. So, this is going to be the same thing as QuickBooks, sir. In the long sense, you're just going to hit invoice. Everything's broken down. Should actually look very similar to QuickBooks because of our partnership, our relationship there. There's the signature that was taken out in the field. And then imagine this. As I mentioned, we can have a customer keep a card on file. We can have this automatically invoice every month for your contracted customers. Or if this is just a one-off, you hit next, and you can email, you can text, or both, a copy of the invoice right to the customer. And then as you're billing through QuickBooks, imagine this. The customer opens up an email. They open up a text message. See this text that I just fired off?
Yep.
They get an emailed link or a text messages link. It's as easy as this, guys. There's the company logo. There's the money that I owe Don. I'm your customer. Tipping feature can be turned on or off. Customer simply types in their own card. Don, you do not lift a finger, sir. Payment link's going to turn green. Customer hits pay. The money goes to your bank account. House Call Pro sends them a receipt. This all goes into QuickBooks. Automatically filing into QuickBooks, so there's no double entry anymore.
So if the customer pays with a credit card through House Pro, what do you charge for that?
This feature right here is 2.99%. Flat rate. Doesn't matter if it's an American Express, Visa, MasterCard. Okay. We can also do ACH payments if you choose. We only charge a 1% fee for that. The customer would just type in their checking and routing number. It's the most secure way you can get paid. We also have credit card readers. Don, you or the guys can carry them out in their pocket in the field. It's about the size of a stack of Post-it notes. We have a few different options for you there.
What about people that want to pay by Zelle?
Great question. I'm going to come back here. You see this big tab that says pay?
Excuse me one moment.
No problem. Tony, what questions do you have for me so far? I know you're soaking this up pretty quick.
You're doing fine. I'm actually getting a little bit tired, but you're doing fine.
I got about 10 minutes, or I'll wrap it up. We'll talk price and all that jazz, okay?
Yep, you're good. But I love what I see. This is very good.
Good. You're going to be handling a lot of the accounts, I take it?
Yeah, I'm going to be stepping in as a manager for a short period of time after acquisition. So this is you're doing good.
I've been part of a lot of acquisitions. You guys need to have the database more over than anything, right? So
Yep.
So is that all going to be coming from QuickBooks, or do we have that saved externally?
Well, it's a kind of mishmash of cards and QuickBooks. We've got a sizable QuickBooks database, so that's a good start, but there's going to be paper that's going to have to get put in too. So.
Okay, so to spell that out, and something, Don, just to loop you back in here, I'm talking with Tony about bringing in the customers, right? So we can do that all day from QuickBooks. Tony, we have an entire QuickBooks team, entire data transfer team to help you with that. What I would consult you to start doing is anything that we have on pen and paper, I'll go ahead and send over a document for an Excel sheet. File those into Excel. It's a lot easier to import it in that way rather than type it one by one at the house call road.
Sure.
Okay.
Finish the conversation about pay. What was there?
Yeah, so Mr. Don, back to this. If you see my mouse here, I'm circling pay. You asked me, what if they want to pay by Zelle?
Right.
So the idea is your technician in the field, all they would have to do is hit pay. They would hit next. And then look at this, guys. If it's a cash payment, I confirm it. Check. I confirm it. What confirm does? Creates a report in our system. So at the end of the day, month, year, I can see all of my credit cards, my cash, my check. It's also going to push that into QuickBooks that it was paid via check or cash. Other. Don, this is what I want you to see. Other. Is it warranty work? Is it e-transfer? That would be like a Zelle payment. Look at this. Other credit card processor. PayPal. Venmo. Square. Chase. Clover. These are competitors to us, but a lot of businesses still use them, so they're built-in reports, if you guys catch my drift there.
Okay.
I got it.
And that can all be done, of course, gentlemen, right from the office as well. Same function here where it says pay. Right? I can get a check, take a check number, hit pay.
Okay, I have several technicians that we give them their list and their cards and their information to do the work, and then they don't. They really have no need to come back to the office for most of the time it's a week. So it's from like Wednesday to Wednesday. Sometimes it may even be 2 weeks. Then they'll hand all their paperwork in all at one time. So in the meantime, we have checks that have been mailed to the office. And we're waiting for that invoice to come to the office before we can add to it. But with it being all in one program, that would really prevent a lot of mistakes that we have in accounting. The paperwork that we're doing right now is mishmash, and it's getting confusing. And go ahead and continue, AJ.
Let me ask a question. So, when the work order is complete, does the Well, the technician can send out an email invoice or text message invoice to the customer right from the system. And you can just, if they're going to send a check in, you can tell them to include this work order number on the bottom of your check to sync up with when the check gets back to the office, you'll be able to match it up. Your office people can match it up with the work order real simple. So that'll stop the problem of mismatching what it's it for and who's it with. So you just have to train the text to say, make sure you put this work order number at the bottom of your check when you send that in.
And what I would also consult them to do is where it says notes, Mr. Don, they would come in and they would simply enough hit this little plus button and they would say customer paying, or let's say mailing check in. It's saved. Check this out. Back in the office, just like the pictures, the notes, the signature, all that good stuff, there's no room for error here now. That note that your technician left in the field, whether it was 2 days or 2 weeks ago, is back there in the office, dated and timestamped. And then as Tony's saying, when that check comes in, remember this report that I showed you?
Right.
Now I can come right in and I can match that check up with that job, that work order, that invoice number.
Like whenever the technician has the type notes, do you have prompts that are he can go by the prompts?
Not for notes, we do not.
Okay.
But you did talk about a checklist thing somewhere along the way that they have to submit to. The checklist could be the prompting that the technician needs.
That would be the route that I would consult you guys to go on that, Tony. So the idea is this is what we call standard operating procedures, right? So Don, let's imagine I'm out in the field. So this just says A, B, C, get it done. All right? That's one rendition. The other rendition is where they can come in and take notes, measurements, values, whatever they need to do, right? So this can say, did you get a check, yes or no, right? And then thirdly, we have a pass flag fail scenario. I don't know if we'd be able to use this. This is kind of like diagnostics out in the field. All right, and the reason I wanted to show all three of these renditions of checklist, gentlemen, is we can blend all three of them together and you can customize them out if you see this. All right? Fully customizable, guys. And on the back end of that, let's say I'm doing an inspection. All right, and I'm one of your employees, Don, and I need to upload those checklists that I did out in the field to the invoice. And perhaps I took a picture out there in the field that the customer needs to have. I can attach them from the field just like I could from the office. It's real-time updating, and you're tracking every single thing that the technician is doing in the field. Conceptually, there shouldn't be anything falling through the cracks for you, sir, whether they don't come back into the office for a week or two.
Now, whenever he's writing out the invoice, and let's say the technician has 50 fire extinguishers, if he was to carry a barcode reader, would that be something that would be recorded on your program?
Unfortunately not. Yeah, unfortunately not. Without getting into too much of a rabbit hole, we do have what's called an open API where you could build something into the back end of our system, but that's going to cost you way much more money and too much of a headache to even call it worth it. I'm just going to say no on that one for you, Don. Sorry about that.
Well, let me ask a question on that point. You're recording the serial numbers for purposes of saying I inspected this detector, correct?
We're inspecting that extinguisher.
Extinguisher. And
so that the technician doesn't have to write it down.
Right.
So just taking a barcode reader, like we had an order just the other day of 30 extinguishers, and it takes the guys 20 minutes to write all those 30 serial numbers, if not longer. So the barcode reader just makes it so much easier. You just swipe it, it comes right up.
Yeah, we don't have an integration for a serial code or a barcode reader. In terms of just typing in the information, I understand that's a pain. What I would consult you guys to do in our system is just snap a picture of them and then create this profile once.
Now, there's actually a tool you can use. There's a tool called barcode reader that you can put on the phone, and what you do is you get yourself on the field where you would actually record the serial number, and then you just flip over to this reader, let it scan the picture, and then it sends it back to whatever field you're coming from. So there's actually a solution for that. We can play around with that to make sure it's going to work. But because I've done this with other applications, so I know it works. So we could automate that with. You guys will have to be, once you do it a couple times, it's not a big deal. You just have to have the reader in memory so that you can flip over and take the picture, and then it returns itself back to wherever the field you're coming from. So it's definitely doable.
And Tony, just to be clear, you're talking third party, outside of Housecall, right?
Absolutely, but it's just going to be a tab to get to that window. It's not a big deal. Been doing it forever.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yep.
Good questions all around there, gentlemen. So I'm pretty much at the end of my rope. We went over payments. A lot of the stuff that I would show you beyond this would be more marketing, kind of fluff to garner more of a web presence, getting online reviews. I know that's a benefit, but I don't know if that's a major focal point today. So let me know what other questions we have, and I'll dive into them.
What was the last thing that you said?
Reviews. Online reviews?
No. Before that.
If you had any more questions, anything that I missed off from?
No, before that, I didn't quite understand what you were talking about as far as, I just misunderstood you.
Are you talking about the barcode reader thing?
No. It was, he had said something right after that, and I just didn't catch it.
So all I said was that, we have covered payments now. I'm pretty much at the end of the presentation. But I do have some bells and whistles for marketing material and collecting reviews. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I just want to open it up to questions to you now.
Okay. Actually, what I should have done is had my secretary in on this, and it would have been, but I find it very, very useful. And